Hi, everybody. This is Robbie from Guidance from Gratitude, and I have with me today Alex Brandin. And I'm so excited to introduce y'all to Alex. I've had the honor of taking several workshops with him. It started with the Seraphim Blueprint Fusion class,
Yes.
but Alex is so knowledgeable. And when you take his workshops, you don't just learn about what the subject is, but the surrounding, the foundation of what goes into all of these things, and just the pieces start coming together. And it's been wonderful learning from him in that way. He'll tell you more about all of these, but he not only, is one of the top teachers of the Seraphim Blueprint energies, but he also created his own, including Act to Sync, and he has the Mysterium Seraphim courses. But Act to Sync is something that people can go to your website and kind of, it's a pre-recorded course and they can take on their own, and I'm going to do that. So I've taken some elements of Act to Sync, and then like even the New Year's work that you did, you included Act to Sync in that, and I really enjoyed it. It was very powerful energy. um so I'm excited to really go deeper into that exploration too. So Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Robbie, thank you so much for having me here. And I talk a lot about synchronicity and serendipity, actually, because that's the core idea of the modality I developed that I call ActiSync, for activate synchronicity or actively syncing. And we met through synchronicity. So this is right, that was right our start of our relationship here. And I'm really happy that you invited me today. Where to start? Maybe I go back to really the beginning. I grew up in East Germany, so it was a socialist, communist country. Religion was not prohibited, but it wasn't encouraged. So I remember doing lots of bike tours when I was a child. And at that time, even in East Germany, interestingly enough, churches tended to always be open. They were saying, oh, this is the house of God. The door is always open. Today, when you want to get into a church, it's actually not easy. You have to come during opening hours. But I remember when I did bike tours through the villages, and maybe a rain would start, you would just think, oh, I just go into the church. I wait until the rain is over, And I I love the atmosphere inside of religious places because I always felt when I enter there is some sacred energy or something, and I would like to explore the artwork, and I would sit there and I would, even as a child, I think I already did my own type of meditation. So my family had a strong nature connectedness, and I would always go into nature. I think that was in our family the substitute for religion. And my mom tells me I was so fascinated with little rocks, and I collected already when I was a toddler rocks. And she said she would roll me in this little stroller through the village. And when I would see a rock, I would leap out of the stroller and grab it. And she was so afraid that one day she would roll over my fingers that it led to me being strapped into the stroller because she was so paranoid. I would just like leap out. And so I collected rocks my entire childhood. I was in East Germany. I was the youngest member of the club of mineralogists and geologists. And I would
Wow.
already in my childhood, I would go dig for rocks. And when I was in my late teens, I had a collection of several thousands of pieces, and I never thought about it from an energy standpoint. I just was fascinated by the beauty of nature, by the beauty of creation, by the patterns, by the crystals. And but now, in retrospect, when I look back, I think that was already sort of my way to integrate lots of different energies.
Yeah, because you were connecting with the beauty and the energy of it all. Like even the churches, it's interesting because so many of us were forced to go to church, and then we turn away from it. But you were kind of like drawn to it for different reasons, just like shelter, during the storm, and you found the beauty within. I love that. That's
You
really
know, growing
wonderful.
up in a socialist communist country, I think one of the biggest gifts, and I'm really grateful for that, is actually that my parents didn't sort of force me into any religion. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up in an environment where religion was optional but not really encouraged,
Mm-hmm.
led to this completely free exploration. So you could read the Bible and then you could think, does it resonate with me or not? And I think that openness helped me later when I became more spiritual. So I was really approaching all the different religions with openness. And
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, I decided none of them is really right for me. But I picked from all of the religions certain things that really resonated with me. And I felt that really strengthened my own connection with Source, with the divine. You can call it God. I think there is this oneness.
I think that's a beautiful thing. I grew up Southern Baptist. My father was a minister of music. So it was like you go to church on Sunday twice, morning and evening. You go to church on Tuesday for choir practice. You go to Wednesday for Wednesday services. You go on Saturday for activities, Friday night for kids night, Sunday again. And you're at church all the time. And it's not really by choice. It's like, and so then again, you kind of move away from it, but you're taught one kind of dogma too. Like this is what you were taught, and this is what you're supposed to believe. But you were able to explore with this freedom to really integrate the things that resonated with you. I find now being on this side of that experience and going on my own spiritual journey and really allowing myself to explore and be curious and be guided where I'm supposed to go is such a more enjoyable way of not only finding my own way, but where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to learn, how I'm supposed to integrate this into my life, and working with clients, sharing that with them. So I love that again. That curiosity and connecting with the magic is so important as you go on your spiritual journey. I say that to my clients all the time.
Yes, I think keeping this open mind and also being okay acknowledging that we don't know something. There is
Mm-hmm.
mysterious experiences. There are things that we will be confronted with, and we have to be, I think, okay saying, wow, I experienced this and I don't really know why
Mm-hmm.
or how it comes together, but I'm open. I will be this seeker trying to explore, trying to see if I can fit the pieces together. And I think then that's a really great starting point to grow quickly. This constant openness and this desire to learn, to evolve, also surrender. I think to
Oh
me
yeah.
that's important. When I first began with spiritual practices, they came mostly from books. After Germany united, I did find they had spiritual expos in Berlin, and I
Mm-hmm.
went to one, and that was really amazing to see all the different things that they were offering, and I got lots of books, and I started to read about manifestation, about astrology. And initially, my approach was very much micromanaging. So I was using my intention very focused. And I did make really good progress with that. I had really good results. But then at some point in my life, I realized because my understanding is always so limited, that even if I make a plan, I never really know all the options, all the possibilities. And so over the years, then I shifted more to this mindset of surrendering. I have this intention that I invite surprises into my
Mhm.
life. I welcome miracles, and I just, start my day with this mindset. Okay, today will be a great day. There will be surprises, and I'm excited about it. And I learned that very often these surprises that the universe creates, they are so much better than what I could
Yeah.
have intentionally manifested.
Yeah. I tell people all the time that it's like we have such a hyper focus on achieving one thing, but what about all of the other things that we're blocking out? Like these little tiny things that might come into our path during a day that will just ignite us and allow us to bring that into the experience that we're trying to work toward. Why limit it? Just be open to let spirit share with us what we need so we can move forward. That's one of the things I really try to focus with my clients on is connecting with the magic that's all around us and not limit those opportunities, not stop ourselves from receiving. And are we seeing something as a limitation or an opportunity for growth? When you can allow yourself to make that shift and allow yourself to surrender so you can receive, you might not know what the who, what, when, why, or where is, but if you trust that you're being led, the next step to saying yes to that next step, yes to that next step, and you just allow it to continue to take you where you need to be, so you can receive the lesson or the knowledge that you need to take the next step forward. You're gonna be guided exactly where you are. I mean, in my life, I don't know why I've made some many of the decisions that I've made, but looking back, I'm able to see, oh, I did this because it helps me in this area now of my life, or I did had these skills like desktop publishing. Why was I a desktop publisher? Because now I can produce things. Why was I in marketing in a PR firm? Because now I can promote my business. I have the skills to do all of that. But if you look at it, it's not a straight line. You just have to trust that you're being guided where you need to be to learn what you can take with you and then take that next step forward. Speaking of that, what other careers did you have before you kind of stepped into your spiritual practice?
This is so interesting what you were just sharing, the sort of detours seemingly we take in life, but then sometimes many years later, it all falls in place. And you
Yeah.
see, it wasn't a detour because now I benefit from this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started in I wanted to become actually a steward on a cruise ship because growing up in East Germany, travel was somewhat limited. And I thought, well, if I would actually be on a vessel, I might travel a lot more. So I wanted to become a steward on a cruise ship, but then because I had relatives in Switzerland and in West Germany, the government decided, no, 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 you cannot be on a cruise ship. You are like a flight risk. So I was denied. But then I thought, well, hospitality industry is not bad. And so I started, first I went into an apprenticeship as a server. I became a bartender. I then continued on with going into the hotel. I started to go through all departments pretty much in a hotel. I then did a business degree for hotel management. And then later, that took me more into the accounting, bookkeeping in a hotel business. And then when I relocated from Germany to the United States in 1996, again, I went into hotels because it made sense. I was speaking different languages. I had the experience. But then from that point on, I really just focused on um, improving my career in accounting. So I became accounting manager, assistant controller, controller. My last position before I left the real world and I became a facilitator of spiritual workshops, I was responsible for the accounting of 7 San Francisco hotels.
Oh wow.
So I had felt for years that I wanted to switch into this spiritual realm, not just as a hobby, not just for myself, but I felt it would be an area where I have to share something with other people. And for years, I felt it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. I still have to do things with my corporate career. I'm not really finished yet. And I became a Seraphim Blueprint teacher in 2006 already, but I only did it as hobby. It never was a thing that I wanted to jump into. But then in end of 2009, beginning of 2010, suddenly people started to find me in the most mysterious ways. It was so interesting. I had put a website up, a very flawed website, that I created myself with software somebody gave me. There were lots of spelling errors on it. It was not a good website. And I didn't offer any workshops at all. But people would find that website and they would call me and they would say, "Oh, I had this dream and I saw this six-winged angel." Or I did a meditation and suddenly the word seraphim flashed in front of me. Or I did a healing session and suddenly I was guided to work with the seraphic consciousness. So I got phone calls literally every week like that. And in the first cases, I was really like, wow. And then I was like, wow, there's a pattern here. And
This might turn into something.
and then suddenly in April 2010, one morning I woke up and I just knew today is the day. It's the right time. I
Mhm,
no longer felt this fear of jumping into the unknown because all of
mhm.
these mysterious guided clients that I had gotten, they have shown to me already, there will be people who are interested in that. You just need to make yourself available. So I went
Yeah.
to the owner of the company that I worked for and I said, "Oh, I would like to turn in my resignation." And they said, "Oh, what are you going to do?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to conduct angel workshop." And they were like,
Sure.
we are not really out of the recession yet. And are you sure you want to part with your relatively high paycheck?" And I'm like, "No, it feels right. I'm good." So I jumped.
Yeah.
And I thought, how do I best kick this off? How do I start this new area? And I thought, well, they have these spiritual expos. And I was like, I should book a booth and that should give me lots of exposure. I should meet lots of new people for this new career.
Mhm.
And so it was so guided. I got the last available booth for this expo. The expo was just 3 weeks after I resigned from my corporate career. And the number of synchronicities were insane. When I booked the booth, because there was this one crappy booth that was behind a column, and that's why nobody wanted it. And so I took that booth and it was supposed to be 6 feet wide. And so at home, I prepared decoration for 6 feet. I glued gold paper. I cut out letters and pictures, and I was like all in it. And then I come to the expo and with my decoration, and my decoration doesn't fit because my booth was 5 feet. And I
Oh
go to the
no.
organizer and I say, "I have 6 feet decoration. It doesn't fit." And he said, "Well, that's impossible. This is a steel construction. This is like partitioned, right? All booths are 6 feet." So and I said, "It's not." So the organizer comes measuring tape and it's 5 feet. And he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I have no idea. This is impossible." And he said, "But we just got a cancellation. It's right next to the entrance door. It's the first booth. It's a much more expensive booth, but I give it to you for free because we are so sorry. That shouldn't have happened, So, and I got the
There you
prime
go.
booth, and it was just crazy. And there was this competition which was called Best of Expo. And I
Oh,
won the gold award, the first time ever doing anything like this.
wow.
I won the gold award for the best presentation in the category Mind, Body, Spirit integration. That was my start.
Wow.
And I could
So you
go
got
on.
so much
Universities
recognition.
were
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. The recognition, validation that you made the right thing was right there. So
Yeah.
you couldn't deny
Yes. No.
it.
So it felt like I really just had to get out of my way. I was the
Mhm.
obstructing factor in with my
Yeah.
doubts, with my fears, always putting
Mhm.
this more into the future and never
Mhm.
feeling now is the time. And the other
Yeah.
thing that held me back for years was that I felt I wasn't good enough yet as a teacher. I
Mhm.
felt I still needed to grow first before I really should stand in front of others and talk. But then I
Mhm.
realized when I finally started, I wasn't that different. I could
Mhm.
have done that 5 years earlier. I mean, in
Mhm.
hindsight, because as you start doing it, you are learning so much faster
Yeah.
than if you
Yeah.
are sitting at home trying to prepare. But if you jump in, you have more interactions with people. And I started
Mhm.
small. I had all of my workshops had maybe two, three, four participants, which was great. So
Mhm.
every time they were asking questions, I could think about it. I could come up with answers. And next class, I had more answers. So
Mhm.
it grew
Exactly.
organically.
And you knew what to look for to integrate that into your offerings and the workshops. And like you said, your knowledge grew as you practiced. I think that's so amazing. I love when they just give us the validations right then and there. I mean, before we came on, I was talking about how I was speaking with someone who I met through total synchronicity, just like you. This woman that I saw a video of. I'm a member of Donna Eden's membership group, and she's one of the lead instructors. And I liked her presentation. I liked how she spoke, and I was really drawn to learning from her. So I went to her page, and she was based in New York City, but then I dug a little deeper and saw she had a place up here where I live. And this year-long class I've been wanting to take for a few years is offered 4 weekends a year. And I'm a single dad, basically. My husband works in the city. He's home a day or two a week. So I can't, normally a weekend, I can't take off and go to another city for a weekend. It's just not possible. And so I just wrote her and I was like, hey, I really like you. I want to take this class. Would you ever offer it up here? And she said, well, I put on my altar yesterday that I wanted to offer it up in the Woodstock area. So here we are. Let's do it. And then she so kindly came and spoke to my retreat. I had my first retreat in October, and she came and so just like spoke at it and led a little energy, walked us through the daily energy routine and taught some techniques and stuff. And out of that, she got, I think, 4 students to come. Some are flying in from California, even though it's offered out there, because they want to work with her because of the way she taught. And but I just love that these synchronicities. But then she today asked me about. I mentioned that I'm integrating seraphim energy into some of that energy routines that I've learned, through Donna Eden stuff. And she's like, "Can you teach me that?" And I was like, "No, but I can get you to a class that can teach you that." And then you told me right as we were beginning, you're teaching the class in 2 weeks. So it's just so funny and you had kind of sworn off, like, I'm not going to teach these classes right now. I have other things I'm doing. So it's just I love how this works, how, you
Yeah.
just kind of put it out there and it all just comes through. So it's,
Well,
again,
well, well,
go ahead.
what I noticed throughout the years when I began with the spiritual journey, I noticed that there were periods in my life when I had a lot of these synchronicities happening, synchronicity and
Mm-hmm.
serendipity. But then I always fell back out of that flow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was really strange. It's like, why is it sometimes I experience these miraculous shortcuts and sometimes life seems hard, right? And it was this up and down. And then I realized that I could actually influence that. And I realized that when those periods sort of came where life seemed hard again, then I had changed. And what had
Mhm,
changed me was most of the time some sort of low vibrational behavior or energy or thoughts. And
mhm,
often it's triggered by anger, it's triggered by fear. And
mhm,
so when I allow those negative energies to grab a hold of me, then I'm
mhm,
sort of dropping down from that flow level, and then I'm falling out of the flow. And so when I
yeah.
realized that, I thought, okay, there's actually, we can control that. We can have our spiritual hygiene routine. We can have practices. We can learn how to not allow those things to pull us back out. And then over the
Mhm,
years, I realized the more I practiced energy work, the more I meditated, those periods that I stayed in the flow, they became longer. And
mhm,
so today I feel I can really control it. And I have the
mhm.
synchronistic relationship with the number 555, which is very interesting. It's the number of the seraphim, but it's also like my guidance number. And when I first started seeing the number 555, it was clear there was a message, but I didn't know what it was. But over the years, I
Mhm.
learned when I'm in the flow, I see 555 all the time. It's the confirmation I'm on the right path. Now,
That's
when I do something that gets me to lose focus, then I start seeing 554 or 556
oh
or
wow.
553 or 557. And if I don't react instantly to self-correct, then those numbers go either, it's like a pendulum, they're going further away.
How
And that's like this
interesting.
message of the universe. It's always to confirm, hey, do some work. You need to calm down. You
Yeah,
need to do
yeah,
some
yeah.
energy work. You need to
Come back to
meditate.
balance. Yeah, raise your vibrations. Let's get there. It's interesting because a lot of the things that I've been reading and studying is about the heaviness of the human body and how we have to really raise our vibrational energy so we can, be lighter, be the light. And one of the things I loved from the sessions you offered over New Year's was that image of the chalice. It resonated with me so much because that's one of the energy exercises that we do. It's called heaven rushing in, and you just raise your hands and just call in the universal energy to support you. And as I saw that image, it was just like, you need to integrate this. But the reason I needed to integrate it more was filling myself up before I could help others. That reminder that we as practitioners need to make sure that we're full, that we're taking care of ourselves, and because we want to help other people so much, and we have all of these demands on us in our life, and it, like, and so the importance of us taking care of ourselves first. And that doesn't take away from anybody else. It actually contributes more because if you're filled up with that golden light that you saw coming into that chalice, it just flows over and you allow it to overflow. So then it just flows outward to everyone else. And I forgot to mention that to you earlier. So thank you for that image. It really made me recommit to my daily practice and start to see the connections between the different modalities I work in. Kind of what I feel like you've done with creating your own modalities. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about those services and the different systems that you've created. I've studied Seraphim Blueprint. I went through level 6, and then I took Fusion, and I took Healing Advanced. I think those are the ones that I've taken. I love the energy and I use it a lot. I use some of the grids and stuff, like even in my Zoom sessions I set grids, so when I enter a session the energy is already kind of present, and then when I close out the energy kind of clears, so with those intentions. I have a really funny story about the guy who was painting my house. He's Buddhist and he's really cool. And we talk about energy and spirituality a lot when he's here. And So I said, "You're going to think I'm crazy, but before you paint the house, I really want to infuse some energy into the paint. Can I have like 15, 20 minutes with the paint?" And he's like, "Sure." And so I went about doing my thing and, infused the paint with, all of this beautiful, wonderful energy. He's like, "Are you done?" I was like, "Yep." So he got the paint. The first stroke he took, he started painting, and I was inside. He called me outside, and he's like, "Robbie, I don't know what you did, but I just took the first couple of strokes, and ladybugs showed up and are all over the side of the house, and I can't paint." He's like, "The first strokes I took." He's like, "So whatever you did, can you ask them to go now? It's great that they're here. I love it, but I can't work." I mean, hundreds of ladybugs just flew and swarmed the house as soon as he started painting. I have a video of it, and it's crazy. But that's just how it works. Like, you see these things just happening when you start playing with this energy. But anyway, so tell us about ActiSync. I'd love to hear a little bit more about this. You were talking about, the synchronicities and staying in that flow, and that is such an important thing. As you know, so tell us a little bit how you created this, how you came to, create your own energy modality, which to me is just like mind blowing.
Well, the starting point was that I was teaching in Japan with the at the time largest spiritual school in Tokyo, and they wanted every year when I came a new workshop, and that was just something they asked for, and I would always ask them, well, what is the topic? What would you like to have a workshop for? Let's see if I can create that. And the first one they asked for was karma clearing and soul purpose. And so I connected with my spirit team at the time, and I did lots of meditation, lots of channeling, and ultimately I connected with an interdimensional IT guy. That's sort of like the impression that I got. That's how he introduced himself. And he helped me understanding some of those concepts about karma and the karmic flow. And then he connected me with information, with energy. Now, up until this point, I primarily had taught seraphic workshops, but it's a very small niche if you think
Mhm.
about it. You have to not only be a fan of angels, but then you have to also believe in the specific category of angels that has six wings, right?
Yeah.
And so when I created these workshops, then I felt like, what if we would even transcend that need for working with angels, with guides, and we have that inner focus and we connect with our higher self, we connect with soul and our internal divinity, our internal connection to source or God or the creator. And that was then this process that led ultimately through um, some variations of that workshop, the first workshop that led then to Kama Sutra, which is now offered, and to Soul Matters. So it used to be one workshop. Now, because there's more content, I split it into two. And then later they asked us, like, we would like to have a workshop for business people who want to integrate spiritual principles and either start their business or already have an existing business, but they want to find the right balance between business success and personal well-being and happiness in their family life. And they want to do this, they want to integrate ethical guidelines, spiritual guidelines. And then that was the creation of the Happy CEO workshop. And
Okay.
initially, I just taught it for business people, but then I realized that everyone is the CEO of their own life. And I had
Yeah,
more participants who are not actually having their own business, but they recognize that it helps them in their decision-making process for personal aspects of life as well. So the Happy CEO program was the next one. And then additional programs grew from that. And I'm right now shifting towards creating the continuation of the Happy CEO program. I'm going to call it, I think, maybe Happy CEO Mastery. And this will be an ongoing mentoring, coaching, support group where like-minded people build a community, help each other, but we also come together periodically to refresh, reiterate, recharge.
that's great.
So this is my
That's
main focus is on OctiSync, but I still have this real love for the Seraphim Angels. Over the
yeah,
years, the many years, I've been traveling to so many places where I've seen artwork of Seraphim Angels, and I have a large collection of images. I have this Instagram and Facebook page where I post lots of different six-winged angels. And that led to this lecture series, which I call Mysterium Seraphim. And I think I have like 18 lectures by now. And we are exploring in every lecture different mysteries associated with this realm of consciousness. And that's more like a hobby, really, because I'm just really so fascinated by these unique angels and the interpretation that people had of the angels at different times in history.
yeah, that's great. Well, I know that the ActiSync, the Metamorphic Emergence course you said is available on demand through your website. And your website is inspiredalternatives.com. Is that the
Yes,
best URL for people to visit? Okay, great.
yes.
So if y'all are interested in learning more about this or taking the workshop, then you can go to inspiredalternatives.com and go to ActiSync and you can find a way to sign up for that first metamorphic emergence course.
In
I
the
think that's the
metamorphic
precursor to
emer
anything else.
In the Metamorphic Emergence workshop, we begin with a comprehensive clearing. I call it spiritual hygiene. And then we focus specifically on clearing our names. A lot of people have a
Mm,
challenging relationship with their own name, and we make it a key to our own authenticity. We then also, and also a lot of people had name changes throughout their life for various reasons, change of citizenship, different country, different language, marriage. And
okay.
so that's actually a topic for a lot of people. And then we focus on integrating ancestral gifts that resonate in our bloodlines. And then after that, we focus on strengthening our connection with our higher self, soul level, and source. So that's it in very short explanation.
Well, if the energy that you were sharing at the end of year workshops that you were holding is that's the act sync, then I can tell you that it's definitely powerful because I would have total not ringing in my ear, but this low hum in my left ear, and my body would vibrate. Like it was definitely being transmitted, I have to say. And it brought together so many different ideas and things that I've been trying to piece together, that with also the gratitude side as well. So I'm really interested in taking the whole class, and I'm glad it's available on demand because like a lot of people, time is difficult to find place time to sit down for 4 hours to do a workshop. So being able to take it and do it on your own, is really nice. So I'll definitely share that link, for people to be able to find your website and find your classes. I'm so happy that I found you. I know I've gained so much from the classes I've taken, and I look forward to taking many, many more with you and seeing where you go, because you're so inventive and creative and thinking about the big picture and how people can integrate this energy into their daily lives and daily paths without it being overwhelming. And so I love when people find those tools to use that really resonate with them, that they can integrate without it because I say sometimes meditation can be a 4-letter word to people because they think they have to do it in a certain way. They have to do it for a certain amount of time. It's sitting cross-legged in the corner for an hour. And a lot of people don't have that time to do that. I mean, yes, it's important to be able to sit in stillness and peace and quiet your mind so you can connect, but do that how it works for you. So finding these tools, the Act to Sync tools to help you accomplish that is just wonderful. So thank you for sharing that with the world, and keep creating. Like I said, I'm excited to keep exploring this with you, and I hope that other people will come and take your classes because they're so incredibly powerful. And I love also that you created more Seraphim Blueprint classes. Here's the base for Seraphim Blueprint, but then you went and created additional aspects to integrate it, do different things to work closer with the earth. And, just because of that goes back to your connection to nature from childhood. I just love that you've explored and just created all of these different things. So thank you for that, Alex. It's really wonderful. And
Thank you, Robbie. I really appreciate that we could have this chat today. And as we were talking, I had so many other points I wanted to speak about, but we are out of time. So I
yeah,
would
sorry
like
about
to
that.
continue this conversation, and I would like to invite you to my Heart to Heart with Friends talk. There we do these segments about 45 minutes. I would also like to
Great.
learn more about your work. I think we have a lot in common with this gratitude-based
Absolutely.
approach to things. So thank you so much, and please come to
Oh,
my talk soon.
absolutely. I really look forward to continuing this conversation. Like I said before, I feel like we could talk all day. This is the
Yes.
first one-on-one conversation we've had, but I feel like like we could just lose a weekend just sitting and talking. And I look forward to doing that one day. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, Alex's website is inspiredalternatives.com. Check out the workshops that he has on Act to Sync. And if you're interested in learning more about Seraphim Blueprint, I think that website is seraphimblueprint.org. Sign up for his newsletters as well, and you'll be able to find all of that out. But thank you again, Alex, and I hope that you have a wonderful trip. I know you're about to go on some adventures to Turkey and Thailand. So I hope that all of your workshops are fruitful and abundant. But thank
Thank
you again
you.
for this conversation.
Greetings from
All
San
right.
Francisco. Bye.
I want to thank you for tuning in today to our podcast. If you'd like to learn more about the services that I offer, you can through my website, either going to guidancefromgratitude.com or robbiekearns.com. Also, let you know that Nicole Schoen and I have relaunched our Angel Answers series, where we do abbreviated readings for people through the lens of sharing messages from the archangels. So it's a wonderful way to learn more about the archangels and how to work with them in your everyday life. Those are being held every third Wednesday of the month, and we'd love to see you there. You can learn more about that on my website as well. So thank you so much. Sending love and light to everyone. Have a great day.